Here, you can exercise your rights to freedom every day without leaving your home. We don't just say, we do. It's the Stain City way.
And it's Friday. I was supposed to say Friday, but I'm really trying to avoid making Friday a thing. Listen, welcome to Real Talk with myself, Anele, coming to you live on SABC3. The stage is yours, and this Friday, we flash back to this. And in my household, that meant press record. 30 years ago, long before the world was obsessed with the Kardashians and fashion runways, William Bell and his wife, Lee Phillip Bell, launched what would become the world's most watched television soap, bringing to the audience the world of fashion, romance, and never-ending drama. Since then, The Bold and the Beautiful has been nominated for a total number of 233 Daytime Emmy Awards and has won 77 of them, produced 90 weddings, worked through more than 1,500 bottles of hairspray, and written over 330,000 pages of dialogue. I'm not even joking. And to celebrate this 30-year milestone, 3 of its cast members visited our shores for a publicity tour, and we have the pleasure of meeting one of them, Heather Tom. Joined The Bold and the Beautiful cast 10 years ago, playing the role of Katie Logan Spencer's sister to Brooke Logan. Not only is she a 5-time Emmy Award winner, but she holds the record as the only actor in the US TV history to win an Emmy Award in 3 categories: Younger, Supporting, and Lead Actress. In 2013, she won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, winning 3 in a row for her role as Katie Logan. Let's take a look at some of these milestones in her career.
And the Emmy goes to Heather Tom from The Young and the Restless.
And the Emmy goes to Heather Tom.
This is the first Emmy win and 5th nomination for Heather Tom. Heather has portrayed Katie Logan Spencer on The Bold and the Beautiful since 2007.
And the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series goes to Heather Tom as Katie Logan, The Bold and the Beautiful.
Congratulations, Heather Tom. This is Heather Tom's 16th Daytime Emmy Award nomination and her 5th win. Now, she has won as Younger, Supporting, and Lead Actress. Heather Tom.
We're just having a chuckle at one of the ladies as Heather Tom is called out to win an Emmy. The lady's
I don't know who they were, but like I'd never seen that footage, and they were like.
But I mean, after the 5th
I hope
time,
they were seat fillers and not actually colleagues.
listen, but after the 5th time of, you know, them hearing Heather Tom, people, it's like Meryl Streep. Like, you know, Meryl, we love you, babe. But if you win another Oscar, it's like, okay, Meryl, go right ahead.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so my batting average is, you know, it is what it is.
How many times have you been nominated?
I want to say I've been nominated 16 times.
Oh, okay.
But that just means I've been doing this a long, long time. So, yeah.
Yeah, 16, 5 wins, that means...
What is that, 300?
My math, wait for us. Just wait for us, okay? She's been nominated.
Don't make me do math.
So 11, okay, so 11 times you didn't hear your name.
Yeah.
But walk us through that. What does it feel like when you hear Heather Tom?
Actually, it's funny, I was watching that just now, and I like still get nervous.
Really?
And I know what they're going to say, because I've seen this before. But yeah, I still get nervous, and it's an amazing it feels like you've like lit yourself on fire, and like you don't remember anything afterwards. And you know, the daytime community is really small, and so it's nice to be, you know, recognized that by your peers in that way. So it's great.
And to be fair, it doesn't matter who the person was who wasn't clapping. It was awesome to watch your cast get up with you, because I saw Stephanie Forrester there.
Yeah.
She literally gave you a grandma hug. Like, do they whisper things in your ear? Like,
you know what, our cast is really amazing. We are very, very close. You know, Susan Flannery, who played Stephanie, I've always admired her. I've known her since I was 15 years old. And so, yeah, it's wonderful to have that support of your cast. And really, I have to say, I think the daytime community is very supportive. We're a small community, and we do support each other. So even the people that were like this.
Maybe they lost the bet, who knows?
Maybe.
So, I mean, you've known, you know, Stephanie Forrester since you were 15. Your first commercial was when you were 2 years old. You basically grew up in front of the camera.
Yeah, I came out of the womb doing this.
Straight to it. I'm pretty sure even the birth, you know, that was on camera too.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to know if that is the truth. And that was a while ago, so I'm not so sure they did that back in those days. But yeah, my mom was very determined, and my brother and sister are also actors. And
you actually played with your brother
on Young and the Restless.
And you guys played brother and sister.
We did not play brother and sister. No, he was a different character on the show.
Okay, but
and actually, the people that play those characters now are now love interests, which is a little weird.
But nothing is off limits.
Nothing's off limits
for the soapy land.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Do you archive things? I mean, do you? For instance, I used to have a radio co-host who, on our prep, it would say, this is our 99th show, and I'd be like, okay, I'm glad you're keeping count, because I'm not. Do you know how many episodes you have been on TV?
Oh, I mean, I don't know exactly how many I've personally been on, but I know that on B&B we are on the 76th and 33rd show, so 7,633 shows. So, yeah. It's a lot.
What do you keep? Do you keep your first script? Do you keep your first appointment letter? Hey,
oh my gosh, I'm such a pack rat. I have I mean, my entire attic is just full of like soap magazines and like, and it's so amazing because you know, there's such an international following. And so we have all of these magazines from all over the world that have stories about our show in it, and it's, I don't know, I think that's kind of cool.
Amazing.
I'm always like, my son will want to know about this, and then he'll probably be like, whatever.
Sure, Mom. Whatever. So you say you guys have been around the world, and let's speak about you. You have been in South Africa for a while, because
I have.
mean, it was 2 weeks ago. You and I, with the rest of the cast, was at Maponya Mall, and then we were at Mall of Africa with SABC3. So what have you been doing? Did you leave and come back?
I feel like I've been here for a really long time, and yet I feel like it's just been this like whirlwind of activity. And we had this amazing week of press where we did press here in Johannesburg and also in Cape Town. It was just like chock full of all kinds of crazy things and so much fun. The 2 mall appearances that we did here were amazing. Oh, I mean, you were there. Like, was that crazy or what? I mean,
I was buzzing until I got home.
I was just like, oh my God.
I was like, I don't know about you guys, because I mean, thousands and thousands of people just like screaming, Heather!
Yeah, it was.
And then obviously Katie, because
because we answered all kinds of things. But yeah, it was crazy. And then we went on safari, and so it was
So you've been on safari.
My husband and my son flew into Cape Town and met me there, and then we went on safari for 5 days.
Did you see the Big Five? Everything?
We did not see the Big Five because we weren't in the Big Five area.
Okay.
So, but we saw leopard and lots of lions and tons of elephants and giraffe and zebra and just like up close and personal, and it was unbelievable.
So I'm about to make South African tourism very happy now.
Yeah.
You're going to go back now to LA, to your life, and back onto the set of The Bold and the Beautiful. And obviously, when you get there, they're going to be like, Heather, how was it? Yeah. What's the first thing to come out of your mind? Like, what has stood out for you when you're thinking about South Africa?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever been in a place where there's just been so much like love directed at us, and so much love for the show, and so much love for the characters. And I mean, I've never experienced anything like this before, and it has really been kind of, you know, like very transformative. Like, I find it to be very emotional.
Yeah, I actually remember you were shaking so much at the one more, and
I was like, I mean, like, I started like crying.
Yes.
It was just so intense, and yeah, I've never really experienced that, and it was And I have to say then, go, 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 because this country just has so much to offer.
And in terms of food, what's like the meal that stood out? Were you like, somebody called the chef, I need to say thank you?
Oh my gosh, we went to this place, oh God, it was a while ago. It was in the African Mall, or Mall of Africa. Cream. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And we had chicken livers, which was like, and we had bull talk, oh God.
Bull talk.
But yeah.
I feel like we're playing 30 seconds.
I'm gonna say beef jerky, and everyone at home is gonna be like,
tongue.
yes, and they're gonna be like throwing things at the screen because I'm not allowed to say that, but that's what it was, and it was delicious. Okay, it was delicious. So even though I didn't pronounce it correctly, it was delicious. But yes, and I know it's not jerky. I get it.
No, it's fine. Listen, we're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, I want to talk about your first audition and, you know, seamlessly moving from the shows that you've done. And I know that you've even had a stint on Ugly Betty.
Yeah.
Cheapers. Listen, if you're a Boldly Beautiful fan and have a question or want to tell Heather just how great she is, send those WhatsApp voice notes, because I know this. We all have a personal story about the Boldly Beautiful. Like my mom used to sit with her best friend, you know, and they'd be on the phone. Her best friend at her house, my mom at our house, talking about Bold and the Beautiful while they're watching Bold and the Beautiful. Never made sense to me, but that's what they did. We want those stories. WhatsApp us your stories right now. More with Heather Tom when we return. SABC3 and the rest of the world is celebrating 30 years of the Bold and the Beautiful. This 3-decade run has had different generations glued to their screens to watch the lives of those from the Bold and the Beautiful unfold over the years. And it is such a great pleasure to have Katie Logan, played by Heather Tom, in studio with us today. Like I say, keep those WhatsApps coming. Want to hear all about it. I was just telling you that I told you guys that I learned how to speak English because of the Bold and the Beautiful. I'd watch and I didn't know what was happening, but then I'd follow the actions, and then you know you
can figure it out.
You figure it out,
and it's got enough repetition that you kind of come back around to things, and you're like, oh, okay, now I know what's going on.
Now I know what's going on. Do you hear those stories where, you know, it's nice and well that you're entertaining, but surely at some point people come to you and be like, you guys changed my life in some or other way?
Well, I kind of feel like the connection we have with our fans is very unique to this genre. They have seen us on television in their living rooms for decades, and they've seen it at our best and our worst and our most intimate, and it's every day, and these characters kind of take on lives of their own, and so I feel like we have a very intimate relationship with our viewers, and I personally love that. But yeah, so we do get stories, you know, where that story is actually not unique. A lot of people in different countries are like, we learned how to speak English by watching these things, and I'm always like, wow, your English must be really scandalous. But
and full of drama, and pauses and dramatic looks and dun dun dun.
Do you pause at the end of all of your sentences and look off? Like,
maybe that's why I'm so dramatic.
Maybe.
Oh my word, you just taught me something about myself. I learned how to speak the language through the drama of it all. Let's go back to the beginning, because you were on Young and the Restless, and then you moved over to Bold and the Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Bell, what's his name? William Bell.
Yeah, Bill Bell, yes.
Bill Bell. You auditioned for him.
I did.
And apparently he was like, that's great. And then...
Yeah, no, he said, thanks for coming in.
There we go.
Which I had been auditioning for a long time, and I was 14, and I was almost 15, and always, like, that's like the kiss of death. Like, thanks for coming in. Thanks for wasting your time and ours. But apparently I walked out of the room and he was like, that's Victoria. Really? And so, yeah, and I signed like a 6-month deal with them, and I'm 15 at the time, 14, 15 at the time, and then they wanted to do a 3-year deal, and I was like, 3 years? How can anyone do this for 3 years? You know, it just seems like such a long time. And then cut to 28 years later, I'm still doing daytime TV.
I want to see Victoria. Let's see Victoria.
Oh boy.
I thought I was going to surprise you, Cole. Guess I'm the one that gets the surprise. Victoria, we didn't plan
Vicky, this isn't what it looks like.
Really? What do you think it looks like?
It must be the most said line.
That's hysterical.
in soapies.
Oh my gosh, and of course you had to find the clip in me in my underwear.
Yes.
But I'm in my underwear a lot these days.
But here's the thing.
Like,
You are on a show where Brooke Logan was the one person we knew the most, and she is known for her lingerie, right?
Yes.
So when you get on the show and now you're here and you're playing Katie, you understand that that is going to be it. You are going to be in your
You're
lingerie.
going to be in your underwear all the time. No, so I've been doing a lot of lingerie scenes. Spoiler alert coming up lately.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, I do this very I do my air diet, which means I just pretty much don't eat anything. And I'm out to dinner with my son and my husband, and we're getting ice cream afterwards. And he's like, my son is 5. And he's like, Mommy, where's your ice cream? You absolutely must have ice cream. And I said, well, Zane, I'm in my underwear this week at work, so I can't have ice cream. And he's like, oh, right, gotcha. Just nothing.
It's panty week at work.
Yeah, it was like no reaction whatsoever. And I'm like, he's gonna have a very skewed idea of what it's like to go to work.
Does he watch you on the show?
He doesn't watch, but he's on the show.
Oh,
so,
yes, he plays your who does he play?
Yeah, my son.
Your son on the show.
So, yeah, I don't know how much longer we're going to do that because he's in kindergarten now. So, well, I don't know how much longer because I'm not interested in having a showbiz kid. But yeah, it kind of just worked out that he was around and, Katie had this son, and so why not put him to work?
Hey, make him pay for his tuition right now. So, who were you most not intimidated by, because I mean you've been in showbiz for a while, so I get you get nervous, but it's a good kind of nervous. But who were you most in awe of sharing a scene with? You know, you hear of these people and you've watched them for years. You're just I cannot wait to get on stage with that person.
Yeah, I mean, Susan Flannery I've so admired her my entire time on Daytime, and I always would watch her work, and she didn't take any prisoners, and she just balls to the wall, and I wanted to work with her because she demanded that you stay in the scene and step on the scene and lay it all out there, and I love working like that. I find it to be very exciting, and it's very dynamic, and I will say that, I mean, Kelly and I kind of have that dynamic. I think Catherine, who plays Brooke.
Catherine Kellyland.
Yes, she where we kind of demand the best of each other, and I find that very exciting about this work.
Speaking of demanding the best of each other, of course, I was going to show this scene. This scene had us calling each other, be like, "Woo! Did you see?"
Oh boy,
watch it.
I guess we're all just moving on. And I guess your idea of moving on is telling Eric you don't want Ridge and me working together. Whose idea was that anyway? Co-VPs. I already told you it was Eric's. Right, just like it was his decision to offer Ridge the CEO position if he dumped me and went back with you. I can't help it if Eric sees Ridge and me as the future of Forrester Creations. You put him up to this. No, I didn't. In fact, it didn't even cross my mind. That just shows you how insecure you are about what you supposedly have with Ridge.
Everyone wants to know.
Supposedly.
Ridge loved you, okay?
Yeah, he did. He gave me a string. I had the string to prove it.
Okay.
Oh, that damn string.
So many things that come in. Everyone wants to know what's she like in real life, because we all think she's a bee with an itch.
Who? Kelly or me?
No. We know how you are, Heather. We're talking about Kelly now.
Oh, yeah. No, she's amazing. I have so much fun with her. I think that we have a really strong dynamic and chemistry as sisters, because we actually have a very sisterly relationship off camera. We hang out. She's my confidant in a lot of ways, and so yeah, I think that really plays really well on camera.
And other work that you've done, I mean, you were on All My Children, Who's the Boss, early days, that was long ago.
My first job.
Obviously, Young and the Restless. How has all of those shows prepared you for what you do now as Katie?
Well, I mean, I think that I really like playing a character for a long period of time. I like to see how she changes, and Katie started, in one place, which she was kind of living in her sister's shadow, and very insecure and kind of little mousy, and she's grown into a woman of her own who has real ambitions and real needs and desires and wants to go after them. And she still has those insecurities; those are never going to go away. But she's dynamic, and I find that to be very, very exciting.
Your stint on Ugly Betty, what was that?
I was recurring on Ugly Betty I did 4 shows, and I played a social worker. Gosh, it was so long ago. I'm trying to remember what I did. honestly, it's
No,
so
do you know
long ago.
do you know where I'm going with this? Because the world has, I'd say, even movie stars now are wanting to move on to TV, right?
Yes.
We see a lot of that. And I mean, with your Grey's Anatomies and Scandal and This Is Us, you know, these shows that are doing so well. Is that not where you want to go to now, or are you cool on where you are?
You know, right now, I love my job. I do other things outside of my job, of course, but I'm so grateful for this, and I've been directing. So, yeah, Brad Bell's let me direct. I've been directing for almost, it'll be 2 years in January for Bold and Beautiful, and I just finished my 3rd short film. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking for other ways to, like, be creative and grow as an artist, because that's, you know, so important. But you know, this is a really good gig.
It is, hey.
I can't complain.
It is. Especially, like, I don't know in America, but in South Africa, if you're on a soap, like, you know, that is
a good gig.
The best of the best actors in South Africa are on soapies. So it's a great gig. How does directing make you a better actor?
Oh, gosh. I think that what I've learned the most directing is that there are and I thought I knew this before I went into it, but I didn't. I had no idea. There are so many moving parts and so many people that have to be on their A game every day, all day long, to have this show happen. And sometimes I would be shadowing a director, and I'm like, I don't even know how this happened. How do we get a show on the air? Because it is just a massive amount of people that have to go in. And so as an actor, and I felt like I already had a work ethic to begin with, but I know that I have to step up and be on my A game, because I cannot, you know, hold up anything in any way, shape, or form, because I'm just a cog in the machine. And, you know, and I think that I felt like I knew that, but it really was driven home when I started directing.
Listen, time for a quick break. When we come back, she's going to teach us the look to camera, pause in of a scene. I am mortified. I cannot believe you're taking my father's company and sleeping with my husband at the same time. Look.
All of that.
All of that when we come back. You're watching Real Talk on SABC3. In studio with us is Heather Tom, who plays the role of Katie Logan on The Bold and the Beautiful. If you're wondering why she's here, The Bold and the Beautiful celebrating 30 years of being on our television screens, and they came down to South Africa to celebrate. So obviously you said you guys went on a safari, right? Now, pretty relaxing, I'd imagine.
Yeah, very relaxing.
Phones off.
Yeah, no internet, no nothing. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. No television, even though I make my living on TV, so there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
But it was like, it was just unbelievable, and with so many animals, and just to see everything in its natural habitat, and just be able to like sit and observe was just, it was really magical.
What do you do to have that form of relaxation back at home?
I know. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know that I achieve that form of relaxation very often at home. We're very busy. My husband and I are, you know, we're worker bees. We like to go to work. I have a 5-year-old son who has activities, you know, but we are outdoors people. I open water swim, so I swim in the ocean a couple times a week. We hike almost every day before we take Zane to school, because he's a 5-year-old boy and he needs to hike for 20 minutes before he goes to school. But so that does bring me, and I also do hot yoga. So like the hot yoga is just like, yeah, it's like my church.
And when it comes to, because I mean, I don't know if people know this, but Soapyland, you are working all the time. You are dealing with like 100 pages a day of script, right?
Yes.
Where is it the best for you to learn your lines, and do you have like a fail-safe way, like this is how I will not forget what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, you know, I've been doing this for so long that it's a muscle, and I think like the more you use it, the you know, the easier it gets, at least. And so I have a really great short-term memory. Like I can read something and then like spout it out. But once it's gone forever. Like, don't ever ask me to go back and revisit, because yeah. I mean, like those scenes that you showed, I was like, oh, I don't even remember doing those scenes. So like,
so you don't have
it's
like,
just like poof.
Don't you have like a box set that they give you at the end of each season, and they say, okay, here's 200 episodes, whatever it is, go and keep it at home?
No. No, but the wonderful thing is that with the internet, you can find anything. True. And I have so many fans that send me these like clips from 20 years ago that I am like, wow, it's amazing to think that, you know, almost 3 decades of my life is somewhere on tape or digital form someplace. It's kind of nuts.
You know, you are right. You like to do things for a long time. Did you date your now husband for 15 years before you guys got married?
14 years before we got married. Yes. Yes, when we were like, well, I'm like, I mean, it never was important, and then I started to think about whether I wanted to have a child, and we were in Italy, and we were sitting on this balcony overlooking the Mediterranean, and I was like, why are we not married? Like, are we making a political statement? Because if we're making a political statement, we need to make a louder one.
Okay.
And he's like, well, you didn't want to get married, and I was like, well, I think I might want to have a kid. He's like, well, then we have to get married because I'm not having a kid unless we're married. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll just go home and we'll go to City Hall and we'll just get married. And he's like, no, 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 no. If we're getting married, we're going to stand up in front of our friends and our family and say vows to each other. And so that's what we did in our backyard.
Dated for 14 years. There are men out there saying, see, baby.
Yeah.
See.
And then we had the baby shower a year to the day of the wedding. Because after 14 years, we were on a schedule.
And then you popped the baby, and then you had to get your TV body back.
Yes.
The horror in your face.
I don't know if that's happened quite yet.
But you were voted best body on daytime television.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, they're like, oh, she looks great in a short skirt. She's got amazing legs.
It's the air diet. It's the air diet.
They eat nothing. But so there's pressure to look good, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure to look good. And it's, you know, I mean, we make our living, this is our commodity.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure that our, you know, our product is in the best form that it can be. And so yeah, there's a pressure to look good. And it's not necessarily a pressure that's in a contract somewhere. Yeah. It's not. But
it's for yourself as well.
But it's for yourself, and I think for the character and for the story and for the fans and the viewers, then you know, you want to, you know, put your best foot forward.
Do you guys get to work and like share like anti-aging serums? Like, oh girl, this will take 5 years off. Because
I am all about the products.
Okay.
You should see, I have like half of my carry-on suitcase is products of like masks and gels
and eye cream
and like these like eye paste things that I'm like totally obsessed with.
Yeah.
And I like Korean beauty products.
Well, look at the Koreans, they don't age.
They look amazing.
They like,
yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll sign me up. But yeah, so I'm a product queen.
And you guys are sharing on set, and
we do a lot of like, yeah, Rena Sofer, who plays Quinn, she just gave me this like serum, and she's like, you gotta try this stuff, it's so good.
It's like crocodile weed.
Yeah, I know.
And apparently it ages you back.
It's snail slime and salmon eggs, and I'm like, I'm in.
Oh,
Let me rub that on my face.
You have to love it. So earlier you touched on you and your now husband. Are we making a political statement? You campaigned, and you were on Obama's campaign as well as Hillary's.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you get into that?
Well, I've always been very political, and I believe that it is our responsibility as citizens to be as politically active as we can be, and to be as informed as we can be. And I actually I worked for Hillary before I worked for Barack Obama on her campaign for her the first time around. And then when she lost the nomination, then I worked for Obama both times in 08 and at 16.
Yeah.
So, or I'm sorry, not 16. Yeah, in 12. And then I of course worked for Hillary again in 16 to a devastating conclusion. But yeah, I feel that we have to be very vigilant, and we have to hold our politicians' feet to the fire and accountable. And I'm clearly not happy with the result of our election, but the one good thing that has come out of it is that I think that Americans are paying more attention.
Yes.
Where we, you know, in our country, we tend to take voting for granted.
Like and things are always going to be this great.
Yeah,
right?
and that's not true in the rest of the world. People value the vote in the rest of the world. They really do. And so I think now, hopefully, it's a hard lesson to learn, but maybe we will, you know, people will become more active in our process.
I love you for that. Look, the WhatsApps are coming in fast and heavy. Keep them coming. Let's hear one of them.
Hello, I am Luzuko. Firstly, I want to say I love Heather. And secondly, I would like to ask her, is there anything else that she would like to do except for us for acting, I mean, in the near future. Thank you.
I'm always, I'm a gypsy. I go where the work is. And so if, whatever opportunities present themselves, I like to take them. And, Brad, who is our executive producer, Brad Bell, who's the head writer, he's always been very, encouraging for us to kind of like go out and try new things and do other things. But I think, as I said before, I mean, like this, I'm so grateful for this, and he has been instrumental in allowing me to direct and to explore that other part, other trajectory. So I would never be able to do that if it weren't for him.
And I mean, you say you're a gypsy and you go where the wind takes you. Speaking of, where have you been based to shoot? I know LA is where The Bold and the Beautiful is, and you had a stint in New York. Is there anywhere else that you've actually lived? Well,
I grew up in Chicago. Yeah. So I lived there until I was 10, and then I was in Seattle for 2 years. We worked in both places, but no, LA mostly for that, and then I had 4 years in New York, which were heaven.
Absolute bliss.
Heaven. I would go back there in a heartbeat.
And I mean, the soap is taking you around the world, hence you're now in South Africa.
Yes, everywhere. I mean, we were in Australia earlier this year, Monaco, south of France, Amsterdam, Norway, Belgium. I mean, it's kind of endless. And so, being on this show in particular is really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. And now they're missing you, and you're not going to celebrate your birthday with them.
I know, my birthday is tomorrow.
Yes, I know this.
I know, I'm going to be on an airplane. I'm going to Dubai. We start our long journey back to Los Angeles tomorrow. Okay. Where we fly through Dubai, and we're going to have a night there. So I was on the phone booking a reservation because we have like a 16-hour layover in Dubai. Yeah, that's an entire day in Dubai. And so I was just like, well, let's go someplace fun and eat and then get on a 16-hour flight to LA. So happy birthday to me. But my son turned 5. On safari.
Oh, wow. Yes. So he had himself an African birthday.
He did. He did.
Okay. Listen, we might have a little something for you. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Look, I know. But either way, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And fly safe, travel safe. You've been wonderful. I mean, I've got to experience you a lot throughout the trip.
I've had so much fun hanging out with you. You're a real kick in the pants.
So. Did you hear that? I'm a real kick in the pants. What a pleasure it's been chatting to Heather Thom. Heather Thom, really? It's Tom. I would like to congratulate her on her success to 5 more Emmys, okay? You can catch her in The Bold and the Beautiful cast on the next episodes of Isidingo, airing on the 15th and the 16th of this month. I'll make sure to remind you of that. On the other side of this, we catch up with comedian Schalk Bezuidenhout. Now he's a kick in the pants. He has a show this weekend. Let's find out more about it right after this. You're watching Real Talk on SABC3. Now, you may not be aware, but Schalk Bezuidenhout was born and bred in an Afrikaans family and began his comedy career doing jokes in English. Growing up in Kempton Park in an Afrikaans conservative family, he's known for his wild afro and a collection of jerseys. And yes, he does have one specific person who makes all of his jerseys, okay? In a few short years that he's been on the comedy scene, he's won 2 Comics Choice Awards and has opened for Trevor Noah. Earlier this year, he took his show to Europe, stopping off in London as well as in Italy. Have a look at the time where he opened for Trevor Noah's Lost in Translation.
So I was in an Afrikaans school, and the rules are quite simple in an Afrikaans school. You have to play rugby. It's as easy as that. You have to play rugby. Actually, no. You don't have to play rugby, but then if you don't play rugby, you have to be really good at some other sport, okay? And I was good at chess, and then, and then the rugby players would always say to me, oh, chess isn't a real sport. And I'd say to them, well, rugby players are stupid. And they'd be like, no. And I said to them, yeah, you see, exactly. You're just a dumb pawn. You can only move 1 block at a time. Me, I'm a queen. I can move sideways, forwards, backwards, skew. This didn't really help.
How are you, Anele?
Schalk, do you know how much I adore you?
Can I just firstly say, it's my first time here. I'm already offended because Heather came all the way from America, from LA. But Anele, I've been on 7 Alone. Do you know that? Ask me who I played.
Who did you play?
Schalk Bezuidenhout. I played myself. After 5 years of drama school, they phoned me, they said, can you act? Yes. Can you play yourself? I was like, wow, I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. I think I'm up for the challenge. I've been preparing for this role.
Let's do it. And then when the call came, did you hear the violins?
Yeah.
Did you wear the jersey?
I did, and I was on the show with Tumi Morake, and we did stand-up in the club.
Oh,
I was in the club.
Okay. Edgy, Schalk. Edgy. Listen, this year, when Trevor did a show at the Dome, you opened for him, and listen, by far the highlight, okay?
Thank you.
Listen, from the joke about the cabinet to the joke about, you know, now wait, was that you there on the road that I passed on the way here? Do you not get into trouble with the Afrikaans community because, and I mean, it's what you know, it's how you grew up, so you basically making fun of what you know, but I mean, people can get sensitive.
Yeah, I've never gotten into trouble with Afrikaans community. I think it's just because like no one can really argue with what I say, because what I say is true, even though I think sometimes when you realize that you do that, you won't necessarily want to admit that you do that as an Afrikaans person, like whether it be ignorance or racism. But I don't think people can go, that's not true, like that's never happened ever. And I think it's good to make people aware of like, guys, this is, we do this sometimes and you need to be aware of it. And
your mom, did she ever not think this is serious? Because I remember that when you won the Comics Choice Award, you're talking about how she was like, how come you're only getting paid 300? I heard Trevor Noah got 6 million. When are you getting your 6 million?
She, it's weird. I was telling someone the other day, like she started off like not really loving it. My parents were like, it's a phase he's going through. He just needs to get this out of his system. But then, like any parent, whether it's like music or anything in the arts, like at the beginning they're like, okay, get it out your system. But then when they're at a show and they start looking around, they see people enjoying what you do. Then they start going like, that's my son. So my mom, all of a sudden she's like, so I know his name is my son. My mom once, I had this one joke where I said the word poo-poo, right? And my mom, like, because she thinks I get my comedy talent from her, so she will, like, give me notes on jokes and stuff after shows. She's like, you must replace poo-poo with something else, because it's not a nice word. But the F word is fine, but, like, the word poo-poo, she's like, do you have to say that? I invited people. Your Danny's there. Then I'm like, but the worst is, she's seen the show. She's seen my show a million times. I'm like, but you know that's in the show. She's like, still. And then I did the Atterbury Theatre last year, and because my mom had been telling me, replace that word, like people don't like that word, but I'm like, but every time I say it, people kill themselves laughing, so I'm sorry. Then it was like the one show didn't work. It was like on a Sunday afternoon, 5 p.m., like conservative audience, and I do the joke, I say poo-poo, no one laughs, and I catch my mom's eye in the middle, and she just goes, and then she's sitting there going,
So obviously your mom then, she's your biggest critic.
Biggest fan, but biggest critic, yeah.
Do you know what I like about your comedy is that it's so, and I've followed it for a while, is that it's so not tainted, because the thing is, comedians are friends with other comedians, right? And you guys do what your mom does with you afterwards, like, leave this out, keep that in. And I've kind of watched it happen. And for me, sometimes it streamlines the comedy, where yes, there's different styles, but you can kind of see a little bit of this person and that person and that person. How do you keep Schalk an island? Because you're doing it very well.
Jeez, I don't know. I mean, I try and get out the house and like experience life, because you don't get, even though it's nice sometimes to stay home and just like chill, that's not where I get my material from. I get my material from things that happen to me. So when people ask me to do weird things, like this guy the other day that asked me to help him propose to his girlfriend,
Okay.
I say yes to those things because I'm like, that's a potential of like something weird and funny happening that can turn into material. Now it's the closing joke, like in my one-man show, and it's like a joke that I really love because people afterwards go, that didn't happen, you made that up. And I'm like, no, that is every detail of that joke is how it happened.
So let's talk about this one-man show.
Yeah, so it was Jersey Boy. The run is done now pretty much, but next year I'd like to
bring it back,
to do a return run because people always go like, oh, we missed it, and then
because you didn't buy tickets.
Yeah, but and you like advertise your arse off, and then people are like, where was it advertised?
You didn't come here though, Schalk. You didn't come here. When you do the run again, you must come back.
I will.
But what's happening tonight and tomorrow at the Goliath Comedy Club?
Tonight and tomorrow night, we're doing trending comics. It's me, Loiso Madinga, Robbie Collins. Oh, no, sorry. Robbie is in Australia. And Paul Pops and Neil Green from Derbs. And what we're trying to do with this show is like, we felt that the culture of touring, comedians touring, has kind of like died a bit. In America, it's such a big thing. Like comedians, you actually have comics called road comics. They're just on the road.
All the time.
All the time. And in South Africa, it's like you go to Cape Town every now and then, and
maybe
Durban.
at the Baxter there'll be something.
Yeah, so we're like, let's put together a lineup show and then tour it. So we did Cape Town, we did Durban, so this is the last leg of the tour, ending tonight and tomorrow night at the Goliath Comedy Club.
Okay.
And it's lacquer. Like I think all of our styles really complement each other, but at the same time very different.
Exactly.
We all come from such different places, so you're really just hearing such different people's stories. Yeah, it's lacquer.
Goliath Comedy Club, tonight, tomorrow.
Yes.
Tickets at the door.
8 o'clock, yeah, or you can go on goliathcomedyclub.com and get tickets there.
Schalk, thank you so much.
Thanks, Anele.
Like I say, when the one man comes back, come look how beautiful my other side is.
So nice.
There's a couch, there'll be a couch with me and you, and we'll just chat. And maybe your mom will come.
Okay.
Will your mom come?
Lacquer, yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Bezuidenhout,
so let's go to voice notes. Any voice notes?
I didn't ask.
No voice notes.
I didn't ask for any voice notes. It's my fault.
I don't get voice notes. I bet you I'm going to walk out there and there's not going to be a cake or even a cook sister lying there.
We say goodbye to Schalk right now before you cost me my show. The Trending Comics nationwide tours in Johannesburg featuring a stellar lineup of our very own comedians. Robbie Collins, who's in Australia, so no. Loiso Madinga, Neil Green, and Paul Pops, and Schalk, the man himself with the jerseys. It's happening tonight and tomorrow at the Goliath Comedy Club in Melrose Arch. But you and I are not done. Stay watching. You know, Schalk, you can... Here at Real Talk, we've been showcasing amazing innovations and inventions, and today is no different. Right now, you're about to hear about a program which runs in more than 40 schools throughout the Nelson Mandela Bay, providing practical science. Take a look.
I'm Isabel van Gent. I'm the program manager of the STEM in Action program. It is a program that's independently funded and it falls under the AMTC in the Mechanical Engineering faculty of the Nelson Mandela University. STEM is the acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering and Maths. STEM in Action is a physical science intervention. The focus group is grade 10 to 12. We intervene on different levels in the lives of the children in the metro of the Nelson Mandela metropolitan area.
The STEM in Action program supports selected disadvantaged schools in executing the prescribed experiments as part of the National Senior Certificate Curriculum for Physical Science for grade 10 to 12 learners.
Creating interest in maths and science should start straight after birth. And that is all to do with stimulation and making learners curious about why things happen, how they happen, and when, and what is causing whatever is happening. And I think that is something that is greatly lacking. If it can't start straight after birth, then at least in grade R, with enough practical examples and making all the theoretical concepts concrete to learners from a very young age. In my opinion, there should be many more teachers in the basic phases. So it's a question of there are not enough teachers, and the quality of the teachers and teaching is not always what it could be.
Did you know 46 of the 100 scarce skills in South Africa require the foundations of maths and science at grade 12 level? Makes you think, doesn't it? For these high school students, they confidently tackle science and maths problems in a fun and interactive way.
I'm so passionate about maths and science because after high school, I want to do chemical engineering, which basically works with chemistry and maths and to invent new stuff like medicine.
I think that it's important because I feel like in South Africa especially, we need to involve the youth in science and maths because there's not a lot of people who are taking up science in school. So we need to encourage the youth to actually take up these subjects, these study subjects, because we need the engineers in the future.
For students who think that maths and science is for geniuses, I would tell them that's not true. I believe it's for everyone, but as long as you put in the extra effort, you go an extra mile to make sure that you understand the work, then you're going to know it. It's like that for any other subject.
STEM programs such as this is an essential component to keeping them interested and excited because science, technology, engineering and mathematics pervades every part of our lives.
After high school, I'm planning to study chemical engineering and then get a master's degrees in petroleum engineering.
In terms of competitions, there's a Maths and Science Olympiad. We have a competition for educators and for schools. We believe that it's much more sustainable if we can get the educators to focus on how best to present science as a subject so that the learners can actually learn and be inspired and be motivated. There are several success stories with regards to this program. We've also had a few years ago a very successful female student from KwaZulu High School. Her name is Nomalungisa Norawana, and she excelled in electrical engineering here at the Nelson Mandela University. And for most of her subjects, she actually got 100%. And she is busy doing her BTech in electrical engineering.
These are the youth who will shape our country's future socially and economically. We commend them, the STEM in Action program, and the Department of Science and Technology for continuously raising the bar. So we don't want Heather Tom to celebrate her birthday on a plane, so we're going to kick it off right now. So, Schalk, we must sing it in Afrikaans. Let's go. Feels geluk lewe, maatjie, omdat jy verjaar.
Mag die Here jou sien en nog baie jare spaar. This is like Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh, my husband!
Oh my God! Are you? That's it? Okay.
You can blow it out now. All right, happy birthday, Heather. Thank you so much for joining us.
This is awesome.
Right, Schalk, you can have the cake. No, you can't.
As long as we're not doing a pie like gag.
No. There's a quick sister for you, Schalk. So listen, thank you so much for joining us. This has been fun. We'll do it again next week. And to say goodbye, Heather's showing us the end look, the soapy look. So how does it go?
You look here and then you kind of look like you're smelling something bad and look over and think about it and then come back to the camera.
Schalk, do you have it? They didn't teach you that on 7 Alarm. We're out of here. Bye.